Hi, it is a seaweed soaking time for my orchids. I do it every week. Every week I soak them 1 week in MSU fertilizer and the second week in seaweed extract solution. And I thought since I'm taking them in and out, it would be a good time to show you my Angraecums and angraecoids collection and actually make an assessment and record their conditions so I could see their progress. I got angraecoids because this group of orchids includes Angraecums, Aerangis, Aeranthes. There's many different species, and most of them they come from Africa, most of them from Madagascar, a lot of them from Madagascar, I don't know most or not. Anyways, I thought hot and humid conditions of my tank would probably do good for them, and I might have some actually success with them. So I've collected quite a few plants of this group, and I will start with this little plant that I like too much. This is Angraecum. That's how I water it actually. I dunk it, I put it face down into the solution. This is the, okay, let's go to the light. This is Angraecum, Angraecum distichum. I find this little orchid extremely cool. It looks like succulent, and the leaves, they're flat. It looks like they're pressed. They're hard and fleshy. And also it's miniature, so it'll fit any space. I got this plant from Rescatso a couple years ago, and at that time it was this big branch and this big branch. And I accidentally broke the top growing tip on the bigger branch, and I didn't even notice when I did it. But plant promptly produced these two new growths at the base and one cakey here at the top. When doing research on how to grow it, I came across the blog called Angraecums, and there's actually a good information about all this group of orchids, how to grow them, and so on. So they say that this particular species doesn't need anything special for blooming. It doesn't need drop in temperatures. So I keep it all year round in my tank in hot and humid environment, and it still did not bloom for me. But I'm thinking maybe because it does not have enough roots to support all the blooms. I find this orchid very shy on producing roots, and the roots are very tiny, and there's not many of them. And I know that all Angraecums hate their roots disturbed, but this one in particular, because the roots are so fine and tiny, it's probably easy to disturb and break them. So they recommend to mount this orchid so you don't have to repot it often while medium breaks down, or use medium that does not break down easily, maybe inorganics, I don't know. I just mounted my plant so I don't need to repot it, and it seems like it likes the mount. Now the Angraecums can grow and bloom in a shaded space. They don't need bright light. But I keep this orchid, I'll show you where. Probably can go to its place now. It is hanging right here, and it receives pretty bright light, so I'm hoping it will trigger blooming. But now when I said it out loud, maybe it does not bloom because the light is too bright. Is that even possible? Maybe I should put it into shade. So anyways, that's my Angraecum distichum. And we go to the next one. The next Angraecum I have is Angraecum magdalenae. It is actually seedling. I got it from clouds, also probably 2 or more than 2 years ago. It is quite slow growing, and I have it potted into bark, and you can see there's a moss already started growing on it. Now this plant, this species hates repottings. They say, and that blog about Angraecums, they say that disturbing the roots can set back the flowering 2 to 5 years. So it doesn't apply to me yet because it is a seedling. But I think this leaf is pretty large. Maybe it is approaching blooming size. And it is also prefers to grow on cool intermediate side. So I'm keeping it in a tank because it is a seedling. But to bloom, I think it needs colder temperatures. So I think this spring I will repot it into Orchid because it is not as prone to decomposing as this bark. I think I have pine bark here. So I will repot it into Orchid, and probably for the winter time, next winter, I will take it out of the tank and put it on a colder windowsill, and I see what's gonna happen. I'm not sure if it's hard to say if it is still seedling or can it produce blooms. I don't have a big experience with these types yet. But that's my Angraecum magdalenae. Here's another mounted angraecoid, and you've seen this one in bloom actually. This is Aerangis biloba, which I also got from Rasketzel. It came as this plant in this little keiki, which was very tiny back then. Now it's grown a lot. So I used to have this plant in my washroom where my mounted bulbophyllums live through the winter, and it bloomed last summer. This winter I have it hanging in a tank. It produced a lot of roots. They all gathered here on the back. See how many roots there are. All of these roots were produced here in a tank. But I'm not sure if it's gonna bloom because basically it did not have colder winter. So I'll see. If it doesn't bloom this summer, then I will take it out of the tank again. But if it will bloom this summer, then I will leave it in a tank. Because, well, I think it's nice and cozy here. And it's is growing right here. It is pretty close to the lights, so you can see all these little dots, but I don't think they bother orchid. At least I don't see any signs of distress. So that's my Aerangis biloba. I'll show how it bloomed. I'll put a picture of the blooms last summer. The next plant I have in this group is Aeranthes ramosa. This is blooming sized plant, and it bloomed from me one time. And this plant has long spike, very thin, like a wire. And when you look at it in bloom, it seems like flowers just floating in the air separately from the plant. That's how the name of the plant Aeranthes came from Greek words aero, air, and anthos, flower, so flowers in the air. This plant for me was pretty easy going. It creates lots of roots. I repotted it a few times actually already, changing the medium. And every time it produces new roots with no problems, and it bloomed after repotting too. So now it's growing new leaf, and it's doing pretty good. I have it in the shade right now because I want it to grow new leaf. I'm not sure does it need too much light. Last time I subjected it to much light, and I burnt the leaves. There was yet another leaf at the bottom which was totally yellow. This one is another one that I burnt, so now I'm keeping it a little bit away from lights. So this is Aeranthes ramosa. And here is one more in my tank. This one is a seedling of Angraecum longicalcar. It is a large growing plant, but mine is very young seedling, so I keep it in the shade. I want it to grow the leaves, and at some point I rotted all the roots in it, but now I see them starting to appear again, starting to grow, which is a good sign. So there's not much to say about this one yet. It probably takes another 5 years for it to grow, to do something significant like bloom. I just have it in a tank. So this is Angraecum longicalcar seedling. And here's the last one of my angraecoid plants. It's not allowed anywhere near the tank or other orchids. And it's a sad leftover of my two gorgeous Angraecum germinyanum plants. But in the last few months, it's been a battlefield of the war between me and scale. Yes, I found a scale in my tank, and it is a disaster because tank is confined space, and if you find insect on one plant, then chances are you can find it on all the plants. But interestingly enough, the scale only affected 2 subjects, my germinyanum seedlings that are wiped from the earth's surface. There are no more. And my Angraecum germinyanum plants. None of the other plants were affected. And well, that's what's left over. And I'm not even sure if it's totally eradicated or not. Chances are I will just throw away the last part because they keep appearing. I keep torturing the plant with all the wiping with alcohol and whatnot, and the leaves become damaged and then they start to rot and whatever. So that's Angraecum germinyanum, which did bloom for me, this particular plant. The main stem is gone, now 2 cages. I'm hoping the little surface of the plant will be easier to keep from insects. But then again, maybe they're in the roots too, and like I did drown the plant on many occasions. But I don't know, maybe they can swim the scale. Anyway, this was my assessment of angraecoid orchid collection. There's the group shot at the end. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.